All right, so we are live now. Like I said, I don't really know how many people are going to be joining us, but people will be able to kind of like watch this back if nobody joins. Sometimes it's a few people like here and there. It just depends on like what day or like what time it is, because some days work better than for
Mhm.
others. But I wanted to talk to you because you told me about an experience that you had when we talked over the phone. And you told me about a UFO experience, right?
Okay.
Would you like to talk about that?
Sure. When I was a child.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. This was in Indianapolis, where I lived until 1970, and I was about oh 6, 7. I'll be 73 next month, so that gives you kind
Oh,
of time frame.
congratulations.
It was in the mid 50s, and my father was a World War II vet, and he was always talked about the war. We were interested in airplanes and stuff like that. He told
Okay.
us about all the aircraft. He'd get pictures, and at that time, you still saw a lot of World War II type aircraft flying around, and he would point them out. And civilian aircraft. We would go out to the airport, what is now Indianapolis International Airport. We go out there and watch the planes come and go. There were places where you could do that. It was a lot smaller then, and a lot of people would do that. It was just sort of like a thing to do.
Oh, that's really cool because I drive by it now and it's like huge and
Yeah, you can't see anything,
yeah.
and you didn't have to. There was no pay parking or anything like that at all. It was just a small parking lot. But anyway, you walk inside the terminal and you go to a place where it's sort of a viewing area where you could just look at stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he would point out the planes and uh, say what they were, and there was your Douglas DC-3s, DC-4s, stuff like that, and then Lockheed stuff. I remember our Lockheed Constellation was my favorite. Great, it was the king of the skies at the time. It was a great big thing. Had a triple stabilizer, triple tail fin, and four engine, sleek looking thing. But anyway,
Hmm.
we do that. So I got to know airplanes pretty well. Well, anyway, one summer, like say in the middle 50s, and I remember as a Saturday, but I'm not sure. I'm sorry, this is jiggling around.
Oh, it's okay.
And I was out on the driveway, and I look up at the sky. It was a nice sunny day. I remember exactly the spot I was in. It was a nice sunny day, and I looked up and I saw what I thought was an airplane at first. It was silvery, and it was long, and it seemed to be like cigar shaped, like an airplane fuselage. That's
Hmm.
what I thought. But there were no wings, there were no stabilizers, and no tail fin. It was just what I assumed to be windows along the side of it. Now it could have been disc shaped, seen from the edge, but I don't think so. I think it was a cigar shaped object. And it was bright silver, and it was big. Um, I can't say how big. I don't know. I couldn't judge the height it was, uh, but it was fairly close. It was lower than most airplanes ever flew. It was
Okay.
actually very low for a thing of its size, and it was just sitting there. It wasn't moving, and I remember being afraid, which was unusual. I saw something unusual back then. It usually didn't scare me.
Hmm.
Some things did, but it wasn't the type of thing that I would have been afraid of. But I was. I remember being afraid. So I ran inside to tell somebody, and there was nobody around. Nobody. And there should have been, hell, I was a little kid, and my twin brother was also there, but I couldn't see him anywhere. My parents weren't there. My grandmother stayed with us sometimes, and she wasn't around. So I thought that was kind of weird. And I went back outside, and the object was still there. And I remember there not being traffic. It was kind of it's a Sherman Drive in Indianapolis, right off of Washington Street. So it was fairly busy place,
Okay.
residential neighborhood, all pre-war homes. And I watched it some more, and it did start moving. It moved around some. It didn't like go in a straight line. It maybe back and forth, not a whole lot, And then my memory just sort of stops there, and I don't know what happened after that. I have no idea what happened after that. I can't remember what I did, where I went after that. It's just that memory stops there totally.
Huh.
And I remember very clearly. It's just my entire life, and it was a
Yeah.
very memorable thing.
Yeah, because to me it sounds like if somebody handed you like a piece of paper and a pencil, you could probably draw it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah,
Yeah, so it seems kind of weird that you can't like remember what happens afterwards.
yeah. That's what I thought was kind of funny.
But you
And
remember nobody being around, like
that
to
that
see it.
was
Yeah.
the probably the weirdest part, wondering where everybody was. But that didn't seem to bother me a whole lot. I don't know.
Huh.
That's neither here nor there. Yeah, but that was strange. And never had another thing like that happen to me that I know of.
See,
Back
because
in the day.
I've never had. Well, so I did have a. I don't really know if I would count this as a sighting,
Uh-huh.
but when I was a teen, I used to walk around a lot, like when I was in high school, because the
Hmm.
town that I went to high school in was very, very small, counted as a village, so you could
Yeah.
go anywhere. And I remember I was walking uphill and I was with two other friends, and I had turned because there was a friend behind me, and I went to go say something. And just above the trees, there was this like disc shape with like lights on it. And I thought it was super weird, but I went to go say something and it just disappeared. I don't know if I saw it like in my mind
Hmm.
or because it was just so small of a time. Like it was there for maybe like 1 or 2 seconds. So I don't
Yeah.
know if I really count that because nobody else saw it. It was just me. Maybe my mind was like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like not good or something. But other than that, I've never experienced any like UFO stuff, but I know a lot of people are interested in UFO things. So I've been trying
Hmm.
to find somebody who has had an experience. So I found it very lucky that you had an experience, which is awesome. And I know that you said that you've been pretty, I don't know the word for it, like in tune with the paranormal world.
Yeah.
So I know that you said that you are very spiritual and you've had a couple occurrences. Is there another current occurrence that like sticks out in your mind that you want to talk about?
Sure. See, along those, I'll tell another thing that happened at that house
Okay, yeah, sure.
around the same time period. I'm not sure exactly when, but my brother and I were going down in our basement. It was the stairs were in the mud room in the back of the house, and we started going down the basement, and we had a long chest freezer that my parents got, and there was enough light to where we could see, but not real well, but we could see. And as we were going down the stairs, both of us saw this. There was a what we look at is what we called it an elf-like object. That's what we call it now. Then we didn't know what it was,
Yeah.
but it was like a humanoid type shape, but small. And we remember it being a brownish, greenish, grayish color, sort of a nondescript utility color, what I like to call it. And it just ran behind the freezer and then out the other side and then back towards where the coal bin was. And we assumed it went back in there. And I don't know how we got the nerve to go up and look or down and look, but we did. It's something we would ordinarily do, but we did. And there was nothing there. So we thought, well, maybe it went out the coal chute because it was right there.
Huh.
So we ran outside, and my mom was in the driveway standing right by the coal chute talking to a neighbor.
Hmm.
And they said, "Oh, no, nobody came out here." And we told her what we saw, and she just laughed it off, thought we were seeing things. But both of us saw it. And my brother remembers it very well to this day, too. So there's that.
Now you said when we had talked over the phone, you said that you have a twin brother, correct?
Right. Twin brother. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
And we also got into the Mandela effect.
Mandela Effect. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that too. Would you like to cover any of that?
Okay. Uh, Mandela Effect. That's concerns Nelson Mandela from Africa, where people said they saw him on TV or saw him somewhere or in the newspaper after he was dead,
Yeah.
but he purported to be alive. And it was a common thing. And this happens with other people too, other famous people. And it's called the Mandela Effect. And is it real? I don't know. But my brother and I, sometimes we have sort of shared memory. And maybe it's connected with that some way. I don't know. We can't understand it. But I talked to him about this just the other day, this shared memory thing.
Yeah.
He says, "Oh yeah, I know. We always have, and not for everything, but just some things. Usually significant things. Yeah. And we definitely have a psychic connection. I can tell. Sometimes I can tell when he's going to call me, and sometimes I call him. I'm reading a new book, and then I find out he's reading the same book.
Oh, that's really cool.
And a couple of times we were at the same place in the same book that we were reading.
Yeah.
And that hasn't happened in a while, but used to be not uncommon for that kind of thing to happen. And one time I was coming home, and we were like 18. I was coming home in the evening, and we hadn't left home yet. And he went to Indianapolis, University of Indianapolis, and he rode his motorcycle back and forth from there. And I didn't see him. It was dark when I got home, and I didn't see him in the living room. I saw my mom sitting in a chair and my dad sitting in a chair, and the light was on. And the thought came to my mind, he got a motorcycle crash and broke his leg. And I walked in, and I said, "Where's Rob at?"
Yeah.
And they said, "Guess." I said, "Well, I don't know." They told me he got in a motorcycle crash and he broke his leg.
Oh my gosh.
So that thought came to me before I went in. When I saw my parents, the silhouettes of my parents is what sort of tripped that memory off, or that thought. So there's that, and just many instances of shared thoughts. We can read each other's minds sometimes. When we would test this occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
He'd say, "Think of something," and then I'd try to intensely think about something, and he would guess, and he would guess right, maybe 3 times in a row. I mean, the first time we tried, he guessed 3 times in a row right. They were totally unrelated things.
Huh.
And then we started thinking about it too much, and that's kind of when that went away. Not letting ourselves go.
See, when I was younger, I used to be really into like the whole like ESP thing.
Yeah.
And I remember in one of the books they were talking about these cards. And there was a stack of cards, and there were like 4 different shapes on the cards. It was like a heart, a star, a diamond, or like a circle.
Uh-huh.
And you would have to, it was like a test to see how
Right,
like in
yeah.
tune you were.
I know
and you would
that
have
kind of
to,
thing, yeah.
you would have to like guess.
It's got a name. I can't remember it.
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called, but I always thought it was like super interesting. And it's kind of like the same thing that you have going on with like your brother being able to like guess what's on each other's minds and stuff like that. Like that's really cool.
Yeah.
But I think the more open to like spirituality and just meditation and things like that, I think that helps that grow. I had a guest on, was it last week? Maybe it was the week before. And she's really spiritual, and she was talking about meditating and opening yourself up. Now, did you ever do any of that kind of stuff? I know that you are open to that kind of stuff, but do you like meditate when you were doing those kind of things? Do you think?
No, we weren't meditating. We were just like sitting on the couch, and I'd be visiting him, and we just do it, and
Yeah.
all it wasn't anything extravagant at all. It's like I said, we try to think about it too much. It doesn't happen.
Yeah. See, because like I used to do a lot of meditation probably about like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was also doing tarot cards. And I would constantly do that like every day. And I had a friend, and we don't really like speak too much anymore, but we would see each other all the time because we worked together, and I would like hang out at his house. Like he was my best friend. And I would be like, oh, he's going to call me here in a minute. and like obviously like not know that he was going to call me, but like I'd touch my phone and he would like a call would come through,
Wow.
or he'd like send me a message and like, oh, how are you? Or I'll be like, oh, I'm thinking of like Gabriel for some reason, and then I'll like get a text or a call or something.
Hmm.
So we were really close, but I don't really have that so much anymore because I'm not really like meditating or anything
Yeah.
like that. So
Oh, meditation certainly helps. I used to meditate, uh, and it did help me a lot. And I did it when I did yoga. I would do a yoga session
yeah,
and meditate at the end of it. And I developed a condition called Meniere's disease. And it's an inner ear thing where you lose your balance. And I got to where I just couldn't do yoga at all because it made
yeah,
me physically ill. Now, I haven't had problems, and this was 20 years ago. I haven't had any problems with that for quite a while. So I'm going to go back to yoga again. I'm going to go to a class
yeah.
here in Lafayette and uh, start that next week, maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
That would be really cool. I feel like
Mhm.
that would be really beneficial for you.
Oh, I know it would. Yeah.
I tried yoga a couple weeks ago. I just like Googled it on like YouTube or
Uh
whatever.
huh.
And then I just watched like an instructional video and I was
Yeah.
like, this isn't for me. Only because like I don't know. Like for me, like I don't stand up straight.
Yeah. Who does?
I don't know. So like she was like, oh, sit up straight. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this friggin' hurts.
Yeah. Uh, when I was doing yoga, like say 20 years ago, I'd do maybe an hour or more,
That's
five,
really
six
yeah,
times
that's
a
really good.
week. And the physical shape it got me in was just tremendous. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things I could do that I certainly can't do now. And I don't think I'll be able to do those things again because my body's quite a bit older. But I know it'll help me. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have another experience that you wanted to talk about?
Sure. Probably the most memorable thing was something that happened in the spring of 1979.
Okay.
And we just had one child then, Angie, and she was seven, 6 or 7. And there was spring break, and her friend lived in this house that we were going to house watch for these people. We are house sit for these people while
Hmm.
they went on vacation. And Angie she wasn't going to go with them. She was going to go to her grandma's, but it was her best friend, who is still her best friend today. And they wanted us to house sit. I don't know why at all, but they had a really nice house. It was in West Lafayette. It's torn down now, but very nice. And we said, okay, yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
So we were there about 4 or 5 nights. And I think it was the second night we stayed. It was about, let's see, I used to remember the times. It was 1 something. I remember 2:55, and I remember 4:20. I remember those 2 times. And the first one was 1 something. I'm not
Huh.
sure what it was.
Yeah.
And anyway, we were both awakened by loud footsteps coming up the stairs. There were, wooden stairs, and it was an old craft uh, craft type home, and very nice. And it was loud. It was like someone wearing boots stomping up the stairs. Very loud. Woke us both up, scared the heck out of me, scared my wife, and I got up. And by the time I got up, sat up, and got out of bed, the steps had come up the stairs and into the bedroom next door to us. And I thought, oh my God. So anyway, I had a revolver next to the bed, and I took it and I walked over to the tippy toed over to the bedroom, didn't turn on any lights, and I flicked the light on, and the only thing in the bedroom was a cat. He was just sitting on the bed, just walking around doing cat things.
Being
So
a cat.
yeah, being a cat, and so I walked all around the house, looked at every room, every closet, every pantry, every cabinet, everything, upstairs, downstairs, and in the basement. Basement was finished off, so it wasn't real scuzzy or anything. Looked at everything there, nothing. Checked all windows and doors, everything was locked up tight. So I was assured by that no person got in. And both of us thought, well, maybe it's the cat. Maybe the cat made a noise. And, late at night when you hear a noise, sometimes it seems louder than it really is.
Yeah.
I think everybody experiences that. But this was way louder than a cat could be.
Yeah.
But we thought, well, that could be the only thing it is. And so I was into that. We went back to sleep, and it didn't seem like a big giant deal the next day. It was like nothing happened. We didn't talk about it much.
Yeah, because you probably just assumed that it might have been the
Yeah,
cat.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the next night, same thing. And on this time, my wife didn't wake up from the noise. She woke up from me being awakened to it. And I jiggled her, and she said, "Oh, what is it?" I said, "Well, it's that again. It's steps again." And so I did the same thing. And the steps did the same thing, come up the stairs uh, and down the hall into the bedroom next door. So I did the same thing, walked in there, flicked the light on, and the cat was in there again. Wow, this cat's doing something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's when we started talking about, well, maybe it was something else. Is it a ghost? What is it? We didn't know. And so I checked the house again very, very quickly, just looked around real quick. Didn't check the doors, didn't even check the windows, and nothing, of course. So the third night, we're laying there, and I'm awake. I wake up in the middle of the night, and I hear the steps begin. The first two times, neither of us heard them begin. We heard them like I got halfway up the steps, And this time, I heard them start at the bottom, coming up. And I reached over and I touched my wife, and she was also awake, but I didn't know it. She says, "Yeah, I can hear them." So at this time, I didn't think it was anything that was going to hurt us, or already would have. So I didn't bother with a gun or anything. I sat up, looked out, and I didn't see anything down the hallway. And the steps came on up and went where I should have seen something if it was making the steps. There was nothing. So I went into the bedroom. So I went into the bedroom, turned the light on, and there was no cat. And then I turned around, and the cat came up the stairs. As I was started to walk out of the bedroom, the cat came running up the stairs, totally silent, and into the bedroom. So, and I felt a presence, and I started talking to it, and asking, "Who are you? What do you want?" And didn't seem to get any kind of an answer, but then I felt it was gone, and that's the last that happened. When the people came back from their vacation, I asked them about it and if they'd have any weird things, and they said no, nothing at all. And I scared the hell out of them. They had a hard time sleeping that night.
They're probably like, "What the heck is going on with this guy?"
And they believed me that I heard what I heard. Now, the husband, he just thought, "Oh, it's just a bunch of crap,"
Yeah.
The wife took it seriously, because she was into the same kinds of things I was.
Yeah.
And at that time, I wasn't actively participating in any kind of research or anything paranormal. We were fairly new parents, and we both had jobs, so we were pretty busy. Had other things on my mind. So anyway, and during that week, my wife found out she was pregnant. So, now, having said that, we were trying to have another kid, and she got pregnant, and that's when we found out. And she started feeling real bad at that time, and that was a bad pregnancy for her too. She felt sick the whole time, whereas the first pregnancy, she was fine. She was just perfectly healthy till the day she gave birth.
Yeah.
And felt good until the day she gave birth. In fact, she didn't think she was in labor. She thought it was the prunes she ate. I said, "I don't think prunes do that. It's called
no, no, they don't."
So another thing that could this be attached to that or not? I don't know. But before we were married, we were living together in an apartment here in Lafayette, or in West Lafayette. Mm-hmm. And she told me she hadn't had a period in 4 months. I said, well, okay, I guess we're going to have a kid,
Yeah.
But then she said a little bit later on, she said she wasn't pregnant anymore. It just kind of went away. She didn't remember miscarrying or anything like that. And a 4-month fetus, I would think you would notice that. Wouldn't you be big enough to notice?
I know that there is a such thing as a false pregnancy. And sometimes when you want to be pregnant so badly, your body will act like you're pregnant to the
Okay,
point where, yeah.
at that time, we didn't want that to happen.
Okay, well,
We weren't
maybe
ready to
not
settle
then.
down. But so there's that. Is that
Yeah.
connected? I don't have no idea. So anyway, after that, things started happening in our house. My wife was seeing things. She saw a figure walk down the hallway one night. She did extra. I was working part time at liquor stores, and I came home late, and all the lights were on in the house. And she came out to the doorway when I was coming in. She said, "Oh, God, I'm glad you're home. I'm glad you're home." She said, "Something's in the house," and she told me she saw a figure moving down the hallway, and it disappeared. And I never saw anything. And I had instance not too long after that where I was in the bathroom early in the morning. I hadn't turned the light on, and I heard steps coming down the hallway, and I thought it was her. And I said, "Well, it's about time to get up, so I'm just going to get up now." And she didn't say anything. And I said it again, and then I turned the light on, and the steps stopped right in front of me, right in front of me.
Huh.
And I turned the light on, and there was nobody there. And then she said she had a couple other instances where she thought something was in the house. And a couple times I came home from work, and this happened twice in the middle of summer. I came home from work, and I was the first one home. Uh, our kids weren't home from school yet, and the house was really, 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 really hot. I mean, baking hot. It was summer at the time,
Hmm.
but well, it's supposed to be hot, but not this hot. And the oven had been turned on. It wasn't on, but it was hot. And every light in the house had been turned on. And that happened a couple times.
Huh.
No explanation of that. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, a few years later, I'm in a bookstore and I see, I'm going to run and get this book. Excuse me. Ah, come on, old bones. I've been having back spasms lately, and it's
Oh no.
hard to get around sometimes. I'm going into the dark.
Hi everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Hi Rebecca. Hi Hauntings with David. I hope you don't have the Rona and that you feel better. I just got over having it. It's not that nice. Hi Christina. Hi Squatch Holler and the Tank Dog if you're still here. We're just talking about things that have happened. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So you got this book.
Yeah, I was in Vaughn's bookstore in West Lafayette, Indiana, and it was sitting on the shelf. A book you probably know of if you're into this kind of thing.
Do I know?
Let's see.
But I can't see.
Communion by Whitley Strieber.
Okay, I don't think I've ever read it.
Okay. If you're into UFOs at all, you'd know about it. But
UFO people, this is the books to read.
that's a good place to start if you want to learn. But just to start.
Okay.
So, and the publishing date on that was, it was a brand new book. Come on. 1987. So that's 8 years later. And I saw that picture on the front. It's like an alien face.
Yeah.
There it is again. And I thought, man, it just grabbed me.
Yeah.
The picture just grabbed me, and I didn't look at it. I didn't get it out and look at it, but it was almost like I was afraid to look at it. So anyway, next time I'm in the bookstore, I see it again,
Yeah.
and I get a weird feeling. And I thought, what is this? So I picked it up and I read it. Well, I didn't read it there. I bought it and I took it home
Yeah.
and read it. And it's about Willie Strieber. He's one of the guys that sort of really made known in a very popular way about abduction, alien abduction.
Okay. Yeah.
The other stories have been out before that, the Betty and Barney Hill thing, and but this was '87. But his things happened earlier than that,
Yeah.
and so I read it, and there was a couple of things in the uh, book that really grabbed my attention. A thing about owls, and I've had a lot of experiences with owls. Weird stuff. Not a lot of weird stuff, but a few weird things with owls. Like see them in strange places,
Yeah.
strange times. Um, so I wrote him a letter. It's just some of the things that he talked about just struck a note with me.
Yeah.
So I wrote him a letter and told him I liked his book. This was before everybody knew who he was. You don't know who he is, but if you're a UFO person, you know who he is. He's very famous.
Yeah.
And I told him the things that felt very strange. And he sent a letter back to me.
Oh, that's nice.
And it said, I hope you can find a hypnotist or something like that to go after these repressed, these memories of that night. And so, because that's what I sort of allude to. These things happening at night, people being taken, and memories taken away. So this happened to us, And then I got really wild in my thing. Said, well, maybe that's what the baby is, because that's one of the big things in UFO lore is, hybrid human alien babies, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So I always called Erica, our youngest, I call her our alien baby.
Oh my gosh.
I've always called her.
That's funny.
And he says, well, I hope you can get a hypnotist sometime to help you out. Well, I do have one. Well, she does past life regression.
Okay, yeah.
And anyway, so there's that.
Have you been to many sessions for that?
Just two.
Just two? Did you learn anything in those two sessions?
The first one was just extraordinary. I thought, I didn't pay much stock in that kind of thing, past life regression. I kind of half expected to be told I was a prince of Atlantis or something like that, some bullshit like that. But she said, now you're probably going to do most of the talking, maybe not, I don't know, but I'll talk some.
Really?
But that's the way it ended up being more like that than she thought it would.
Huh.
She said very little during the whole thing. She started out relaxing me and then taking me up into the sky to lay on a cloud and then get on top of the cloud and look down. And that's when things started. And that's when, I swear, I was there. I could hear things in the room. I could hear the little dog Frosty barking, running around, being a nuisance. I could hear traffic outside. But I was in this other place. And it was so real.
Huh.
It just amazed me. And I still get feeling very weird when I even talk about this. And the way it started out, after I really got into it, first I was seeing landscapes of woods and fields and stuff like that, nice summery landscapes. And then it turned into fire. There was like rivers of fire and rocks. Everything was black and red. And it went on as far as I could see, to the horizon. It was fire, like a gigantic geological event,
Mm-hmm.
A huge volcanic cauldron or something like that, And it seemed like it was, is it the end of the world type thing, or is it a beginning of a world?
Well, if you believe in oh shit, I don't even remember. It's one of the mythologies. I think it's like, I want to say it's Greek mythology, but I don't remember. The gods were made that way. Like the giants
Yeah,
were made from fire. Like
yeah,
in the beginning, it's chaos, but
yeah.
I don't remember which one it is.
I don't know. I I know a little bit of Greek mythology, but not a whole lot.
I don't know a whole lot either.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Um,
but that's the one thing I remember. So.
uh-huh. Well, there was fire. God gave Prometheus the
Oh,
gift of fire.
it's the Titans. That's how the
The
Titans came
Titans, yeah,
about. I think so. Yeah.
yeah. Didn't see any Titans. Well, I don't know. This goes on. Uh, so anyway, this wasn't scary to me at all. I just thought it was really amazing. It didn't feel hot or anything, but I was there. It didn't feel like bad at all. I thought it
Yeah.
was kind of neat to look at. And so she said, "Well, let's go back up into the air, and we'll go other places." And we eventually ended up at a place what appeared to me to be a Nordic landscape. That's just what comes to my mind.
Yeah.
And there was like, I was up real high on a hill, and down below you could see a fjord that looked like a fjord, and lots of mountainous, rocky, hilly places. And there was a village down below, and there were houses and stuff. And the house I lived in was built into the side of the hill. There was the front door and some windows, but kind of like a hot. Did you see Lord of the Rings?
Yeah. I
Okay,
did see Lord of
it's
the
like
Rings.
a Hobbit house. That's kind of what
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
reminded me of.
They're like the underground homes, the ones that
Right?
are built
Yeah,
into the ground.
yeah, and the door in front. Well, that's what the house was like. And I went in the house, and it was very small inside. There was a hearth with a fire going, and my wife was there, and she had just had a baby, a tiny baby. And so we were like, she was holding the baby, and we were adoring it and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I went back outside, and the only thing I could see of myself, I couldn't like see what I looked like, but I did see a beard down in front of me, a long,
Yeah.
sort of reddish beard down in front of me. And I can't remember the clothes I was wearing that I could see, but I just remember the beard more than anything. And I thought I'd look around, and this gets a little mixed up sometimes because there's a lot of detail in it. But I'll just try to hit the high points. And in one part, up on a hill higher up, I thought what was a a deer, a big stag standing up there, and I thought, well, I'm gonna go check this out.
Hmm.
And I started climbing the hill, and I was telling her all this stuff while while I was in in the trance. I don't know what it was, because I was aware of everything else. And I walked up the hill to see what it was, to check this stag out. And she, or, excuse me, she kept trying to say stuff, and I said, "Well, just wait a minute. Let me go see what this is."
Yeah.
I sort of stopped her, and the closer I got to it, the more it didn't look like a stag. I said, "I don't know what this is. This is something else. This is something I've never seen before, and I can't describe it. I can't describe it. I've never
Huh.
seen the stag, and then it was something else. And then I came back down the hill. I don't know what that meant at all. I came back down the hill, and there was this huge thing in the sky, like oh my God, I'll say a craft. I don't know what it was. I'll say a craft. It was huge. If I had to give a size, I would say, my gosh, a quarter mile across. It was gigantic,
Yeah.
and it was white and glowing. And it came down, kept coming closer, and it landed near me. And there was, I wouldn't call it a door. It was sort of a glowing red opening. And I thought, well, I'm going to go inside, see what's in there. So I go in there, and something happened in there, but I cannot remember what it was. I have all this recorded. I should have listened to it again before
Oh.
this, but uh, she recorded it for me.
Yeah. That's
So
nice.
I came back out, and when I came out, there was a guy there. And it was a guy because he had a long white beard, but he was tall. And when I say tall, I'm talking about like 100 feet, 200 feet tall,
Oh my gosh.
just a big guy.
Yeah.
But it wasn't threatening at all. And I felt very comforted. And this is somebody that I knew it was somebody that I knew. I knew who it was, but I couldn't say who it was. I mean,
Yeah.
to myself, who was in this place, I knew who that was. And then these beams and sort of lightning type beams started coming out of it, and out of his eyes or hands, I can't remember which, and coming into me, and it just filled me full of energy, just this amazing energy, and it was bursting out the back of me in rays of light. And this went on. It seemed like forever. It went on,
Yeah.
and I was. And now in the video, in the recording of it, sounds like I'm having sex or something,
Oh my god.
but it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a guy grunting, having sex. Sorry to get gross, but um, then I get kind of a little scared, like this is going to go on forever. So I just sort of let it die down. I could make it come and go, and I let it die down.
Yeah.
And then it started up a little bit, and I just let it go again. And then the same thing. It gets so intense, I just had to stop it. That happened several times. And finally, it just stopped. And I don't know what it was, but it was one of the most exhilarating feelings I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Felt so empowered by it, so energetic. I felt full of light and energy. That's the only way I can explain it. And to tell how it really felt, I don't think there's words for it.
Yeah.
I can't find the words. So after that, it got a little mixed up, and I ended up going back into my home, and my wife was in there, but she wasn't young with a baby anymore. She was old and she was dying. And she was laying down. She had white hair, and there was a young woman kneeling beside her who was our daughter, the one that was a little baby, and we watched her die. And it was such an incredibly oh comforting feeling. And here's nothing. My father was hovering above me, watching. I could see him from the chest up. He was wearing a white T-shirt, had a flat top haircut like he did, and he was just watching. And he wasn't saying anything, but it was like I could sort of feel like, yeah, you're here taking care of me. You're watching,
Yeah.
and you're approving of all this. And that's sort of when it ended, is watching my wife die, and
Yeah.
it felt really good. And that experience, that just, I have to say, it was a life changing experience for me.
Right.
It opened things up in my mind and my soul. That's when I truly started believing that, yes, we have a consciousness,
Yeah.
a true consciousness that has nothing to do with physical reality.
Now, did she explain like what everything meant, or like was she saying that these were perhaps maybe your past life, since this was like a, for anybody that's joining, the story is of a you were hypnotized, correct?
She didn't really
In
call it
some
that.
degree.
She didn't really call it that, but it was kind of like that. But I like went into it right away. I mean,
Yeah.
she didn't have to say very much at all.
And it's a past life regression session, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. How much would, if you don't mind answering, how much was the session? Do you remember
Okay.
how much you paid?
It was zero.
It was 0.
At the
Okay, so she
time,
didn't charge you for that.
she was honing her skills to become a professional. And so she wasn't charging. I belonged to this UFO meetup group here in Lafayette,
Mhm.
and a lady in there talked about her, so I got in touch with her, and that's how I found out about her. And this group doesn't exist anymore. Of course, it died with COVID. And let's see, where was I going with it before that? But I said I gotta say, it was a life altering thing,
Yeah.
and it helped me when my own wife here in this
Yeah.
world died. That was a year ago this month,
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
and thank you. And she had her cancer came back. I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
I didn't know that she had it. She'd had colon cancer years before, and it came back, but she didn't tell anybody. She was very secretive about her health, very secretive.
Yeah.
And but that was the cause of death. But anyway, she woke up in the middle of the night saying, "I want my mommy. I want my mommy." She saying that over and over, and then she would breathe hard, trying to catch her breath, that kind of thing, and then go back to, "I want my mommy. I want my mommy." So I went in there with her,
Mhm.
and when she died sitting up, and I have to say, it was a beautiful experience being with her when she died.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I didn't feel bad. I knew she was dying. I mean,
Yeah.
that was pretty obvious to anybody that was near her, but I didn't know what it was. Uh, I didn't even think about her cancer coming back. I couldn't even begin to think what it was because she wouldn't go to doctors.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when she passed, I thought, my God, this is. I knew this was coming. It wasn't anything at all like I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I thought it would be horrible and I'd be a total wreck. But I was put at ease. Well,
I
one thing,
feel.
of course, there's the thing where the relief that I'm not dealing with this very sick person anymore.
Yeah, like
That
she's not
helps.
in pain
But
anymore and things like that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and um, but it just felt like a wonderful thing. It just happened because I
Yeah.
feel she was in a better place, and she firmly believed that she'd go to a better place, whatever that was. She said she was often visited by both of her parents who were dead,
Yeah.
and they told her things like, "Just wait till you get here. This it's better than you can ever possibly imagine here."
Oh, well, that's
That
amazing.
happened to her several times. So she was very comfortable with the idea of dying,
Yeah.
and she had
Yeah.
no. Go
I
ahead.
feel like the concept on its own is very tough for somebody.
Mhm.
Especially with somebody that you're so close to. I feel like the past life regression session that you had done opened your mind to it, like with the thought of being okay with it.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
helped.
that
I feel
helped.
like it did help you.
That helped a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
it it sealed my belief, and I have to say belief because I have no scientific proof. I don't think there
Yeah.
can be scientific proof in a consciousness. I think it's separate from anything science can do. That's my opinion only.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but it's solid in me. It's solid. I know in my heart that when I die, I'm not dead. I'm still going to be there in some form, somewhere, and it's not going to be bad. And I can't even imagine what it might be. I don't think it's going to be the 72 versions or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it really helped me through that. And I've had
Yeah.
a few problems since then in the past year.
Yeah.
I was stopped taking care of myself for a while, and I started getting sick. And so, but I've got a handle on that again. My daughters, they're, let's see, one's will be 50 in May, and one is 42. Yeah, and they have both helped me out so much. I wish they lived around here, but they don't.
Oh, I'm
They
sorry.
live on the East Coast. One's
Yeah.
the old one's in New York, the young one's in Virginia Beach.
Well, they're in good places then.
They are, yeah, yeah. Unless there's a giant tsunami that comes and wipes
Oh
out the
well.
coast. But anyway, I don't think about that very
I don't think that's gonna happen,
much.
or at least
No,
I
you
hope
never
not.
know.
Yeah.
You never know. um, let's see. Yeah, and it made me search more for stuff about consciousness.
Yeah.
And I, I talked about this in our UFO group, and most of the people were very intrigued by it. Thought it was really something special.
Yeah, it sounds
Uh,
very
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. The
Because
lady,
I've never done it before, so
yeah. And I'm going to do another one here pretty soon. She stopped doing it, and then the COVID thing came along. She's got two
yeah.
kids, and so it stopped. And just recently, just a couple 3 weeks ago, I contacted her and she's ready to do it again. So am I. So
Oh,
she
that's
may
cool.
charge
Yeah.
now. I don't know. I don't care. But I gave her a big tip.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I had another one done a week later, and I think I should have waited. That was
Too close together then.
too close
Too
together.
close.
Yeah, I think it was hard for me to process that much in that short time.
Yeah.
I should have waited like a month or something. But anyway, the second one was really interesting. It had a lot of historical stuff in stuff about airplanes.
Hmm.
And I was a pilot. There was one place where I was a pilot. There was another thing where I was a mechanic. It went to different scenarios and different times in history. And one place there was a tribute being paid to me for something I did
Oh, that's cool.
concerning aviation.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. Well, hey, that's pretty neat. People have been, making this tribute. This. They're honoring me for something or other.
Yeah.
And it it had a thing too where energy was coming into it. It was in the form of balls of light coming into my body, and it was the same kind of feeling as the time before, but not quite as intense. And I stopped it, and I wished I hadn't, but I don't know. Like I say, it was too close to the first time.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe it's just too much, like
Yeah,
too close together, and it's just too much for your body.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at with that now, and I'm going to try to get another group together here and start something, a UFO/paranormal type group. That's what our
That'd be
group
really
was
cool.
before. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we meet once a month at Tippecanoe County Library. We'd be there for 4 or 5 hours.
Oh my gosh.
And it was we fill the time up very, very easily too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Well, that remains to be seen what's going to happen. I can't start it now in my house. My daughter just took possession of my house. I gave it to her.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter, and she's going to turn into an Airbnb, and the girls are going to split the money on it. And well, you guys think it was already paid off, so they're going to do all that. And then where I'm going to go, I said, well, I want to live in the house, so there's a little bit of shuffling around there.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. Time will tell. No solid plans as far as what I'm going to do. I'd love to stay in Lafayette. I really like it here.
Yeah. I think it would be great too for like the paranormal group, because you said that you already had. Well, there was one, but now because of COVID, there isn't another one. But
yeah, and I know there's a couple of people that definitely be interested in it.
Yeah.
And let's see. So that's all there is about that.
Well, it is 6:53, and I do have to make dinner.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then you dinner? Can eat dinner.
Yeah, that's true. So I will probably let you go.
Okay.
But it was very nice talking to you, and I love your stories. I definitely have never heard of like the past life regression sessions. Yeah. I think that is super, super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I will definitely have to look into it and maybe do something like that, like for my channel in the future.
Yeah. Well, here's a book to read. I'm not going to be looking for it. It's called Surviving Death.
Okay.
By a lady named Leslie Kean, Kean. And she was one of the people that broke the story about the UAPs, the Nimitz, aircraft carrier Nimitz. Have you heard about that at all?
Nope.
Okay. Well, okay. She broke the story about how the government does know that there are UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. And her and a guy named Ralph Blumenthal, they did it. And that was in 2017. I mean, what this book is about, life after death. So what I say it was, Surviving Death. Also, Netflix has it on a series.
Oh, that's cool.
Called Surviving Death. Now, I like the book better than the series. But
the book's usually better.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And for anybody that's interested, check out those things. Also, the communion book Who
Right.
was the writer of that one again?
Whitley Strieber.
And that was about alien abductions.
The abduction, yeah. Him and his family being abducted, that kind of thing. And I would say people can contact me on Facebook, Rich Ward, pretty easy to find.
Yeah, I'll put a link to your Facebook if anybody has any questions
very good
for you. It'll be in the description.
Yeah. And the group I want to start, I'll say this. I want to be people who are serious, not people who are, a princess on Mars or something like that. Not stuff like that. But
yeah, only serious people.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're quite welcome.
All right. Well, I will talk to you later.
Okay. We'll keep in touch.
Yes, definitely.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will chat with you guys later.